Hello everybody, Hellcrix here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode, 252? Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the Striker Light Tank, or Armored Car, however you want to look at it. It's a wheeled vehicle weighing 35 tons, coming in around 300 or 550 battle value, depending up to 600, depending on which version you run. It is a 580. Being an armored car, it comes in fairly cheap. It has no heat sinks. Doesn't need them for internal combustion engine vehicle that doesn't have any energy weapons. Fine. It has 104 points of armor, which is adequate for its role for a cheap throwaway type of vehicle, and it can easily add some firepower down range for you. Weapons. It carries in the turret a SRM 6 and an LRM 10 with a ton of ammo for the LRM and 2 for the SRM. In all reality, I've never ever got through a single ton of ammo for that SRM. Well, I've ran out of LRM ammo before, but I've never ran out of SRM. Mostly because by the time you get the vehicle close enough to use your SRMs, it dies pretty quickly. So, yeah, I'm going to keep this thing at bay. Now, the Striker, being as a sort of interesting Succession War style vehicle, it has some decent speed for the Succession Wars. 5.8 gets around pretty good. Considering a lot of your mechs you're going to be running against are going to be 4.6s, some even if assaults are going to be 3.5s. So, not bad. The only time you're going to have any problems if you're facing off against is like VTOLs or fast-moving hovercraft or light-moving scouts of the mech persuasion. So those are your enemies that will get to you pretty quickly. Otherwise, you can keep most 4.6 or slower moving mechs at a distance. All you need is somebody to spot for you. And if you give somebody the Forward Observer perk or something like that, you can rain down a lot of LRMs, especially from a lance, every turn. And that's pretty much how you use them. You could use them in a safe fight, a open terrain, hiding behind some hills, etc. This thing excels pretty good at just displacing to a new position, keeping the enemy at bay, keeping the range in their favor, and just, you know, if you're hiding behind a hill and not moving, yes, you get the one indirect fire mod, but if they're not moving, they're not incurring any other mods, and they have a propensity to hit a lot. And typically you're going to do about 6 points of damage on an average. So you got a lance of them. That adds up, especially if you're facing off against a heavy or assault mech. You can whittle down some assault mechs over about 4 or 5 turrets. Start opening up some holes in them and allowing things to be tore up with some other, especially if you're running these in conjunction with some heavy hitting, let's say Patton tanks with AC-10s and their LRMs. They got LRM-5s, but those are more or less plinking type of systems, or you can just load them up with like smoke rounds or something. And that also works good because you could, now personally I'd like to swap around the ammo bins. You could do that way where you have 2 tons of LRM ammo and then load them up with 1 ton of smoke, so you can lay it, say if you're going into the assault, laying down a barrage of smoke, covering yourself. Or if you see somebody that's kind of overextended, you can lay down some smoke covering, cutting them off from their lance mates so they can't see as well. because they got to shoot the smoke, degrading their capabilities of hitting, and then you concentrate fire on, you know, the other vehicles, and mechs will concentrate on, say, that single mech. It's kind of like peeling back the onion type thing. So they are very versatile. I have always found that the strikers are useful, and that's probably why I got, 2 companies of them. Never filled that many yet, but, you know, I got them painted up in different unit colors. Now, there are a few variants of this vehicle. We already talked about the standard with the LRM-10 and the SRM-6. Now there is an SRM variant. This came out in 3011. This one carries around 4 SRM-4s, and it has 1 ton of LRM ammunition. So, and 4 SRM-2s. So it basically took 1 ton of SRM ammo and downgraded that SRM into SRM-2s. Okay, that works. But you kind of lose some of your ability to use different types of ammo. Especially if I had an SRM-2, I have a tendency to love to throw Infernals. But if you only got 1 ton of ammo, well, your choice is, you know, I can run Infernals with it, or I can run standard ammunition. So there you go. Then there's the LRM variant. This one has a single LRM-15. This was 600 battle value. Is running similar to the Hunter tank. So if someplace way back in the day I did a Hunter tank video. But that is very similar. But the one thing that's a more of an advantage to the striker over the Hunter is the turret. So you can, like, face off against an enemy, park yourself behind a hill or a building or something, face the other direction, turn the turret completely around so it's facing towards the enemy, and then you could, like, fire, and the next turn move, you know, run away, set up in a different position type of thing. So that's the one advantage. Otherwise the Hunter has to backpedal. And then coming out in the 3053-58 upgrade, the internal combustion engine was replaced with a fusion engine, because obviously fusion engines were now being produced in greater numbers. Has ferrofibrous armor, and the LRM launcher is upgraded to an LRM-15. Okay, you get the advantage of the fusion engine, so you get some space left over from the internal combustion engine that used up. And it has Artemis, so there you go. And it has a pair of Streak SRM-2s with a ton of ammo. Personally, I think I'd rather have 3 SRM-2s versus the Streaks. But, you know, there is, you know, if they fire, they fire. If they don't, they don't. So you can get by with a single ton easily. Then there's the Striker Narc variant. This came out in the same 3053-58 era. This one's is fitted with the original LRM-10 SRM-6. However, is also equipped with a Narc beacon. So basically, you are using those that fusion engine to be able to put a Narc beacon system on, which still, with the Narc beacon, this is the same problem I have. It's like being a 5.8 vehicle. Yeah, you're kind of a throwaway vehicle, but your life expectancy is pretty slow. Pretty low, because you are looking at something that's only range 9, and you got to get within 9 and hit somebody with a Narc beacon, and they'll probably turn around and go, "Oh, just kill that vehicle. Be done with it. We don't want to have another chance of getting hit with a Narc." So even if, you know, most likely you didn't hit at range 9 in the first place, and then your vehicle's dead. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. And then we have the C3 variant, came out in 3061. The Drax came out with this one. It's the C3 variant. The SRM launchers and ammo have been dropped for a single turret mounted ER medium laser. Obviously, you're using a fusion reactor. Has an LRM. It has 2 tons of LRM ammo with an LRM-15. And it also has a ECM and a C3 slave. So, this is like we just played against the Wobs in a recent game, and ECM is your friend, especially if you're facing off stuff that likes to use the C3 system. So, I can see that being very useful. And you're running the vehicle around to be able to use the C3 system to bring everybody closer, and maybe shutting down their Artemis or their C3 system. So there, that works pretty good, but it comes in at more expense. You know, you got almost 800 battle value with that one. So it's not a little more expensive. You may not run a whole lance of them. You may have just 1 or 2 in running with your vehicles. And then we have the laser variant. This one is come out 3062. This one it's a variant of the C3 system, and where it drops the C3 slave computer, and it was given an additional ER medium laser. The LRM ammunition was brought up to 2 tons. So there, a little bit of change. And then there's the ammo variant. This one has LRM storage, ammunition storage capacity. Drop the Artemis and adds a half ton of more ammo. So drop a few other systems for ammunition storage. And then there's Wet Striker, which one has a sealed hull and fuel cell, replaces the LRMs with an MML5. 3 tons of ammunition, Guardian ECM, and a light machine gun array for anti-infantry for up close and personal. It's kind of like a city fighter, you know, or riot control style vehicle. So there you go. That is the Striker. There's a few out there worthy of looking at. So I have to say, if you haven't ever tried one, pick up a few, add to the mix. You know, heck, you can even get somebody to 3D print them anymore. So, it's worth going out and getting at least a lance to go play with. It's not like they're going to break the bank when it comes to battle value in a game. You might be able to throw a few in here and there. So that's it. That's the Striker. Hope you guys liked this one. Like and subscribe, share with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one. Craig's out.